Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is August 24th, 2023. It's on Thursday, and cloudy outside, but it's not raining. How are you spending Thursday? Do you like Thursday? How do you like Thursday? When I was a university student, I used to schedule Thursday with easy tasks, with less classes and so on. And it worked in a week. Instead of reducing the number of classes and tasks on Thursday, I put more classes and tasks on other days in a week, such as on Friday or Tuesday. The decision must have been pressured by external entities, maybe economical entities. The decision must have been pressured by external entities. External power. Introduced species must not taken over the ecosystem. The local species should not be frightened by introduced species. External power. External doors. External people not related to the company are not allowed to enter. You need a permission card. External people cannot enter the facility without permission. External people cannot enter the facility premises without permission. You need a reservation or permission from someone working in the company beforehand. External. External doors, external gate. External knowledge. External help regarding IoT, programming, AI knowledge, and so on. External sources of knowledge. External sources of knowledge. External sources of knowledge. External, 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 external sources of knowledge. The country heavily relies on other countries for crops. The country heavily relies on external countries. External, external directors, external directors, external directors. External, 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 external. The decision must have been pressured by external entity. The crazy decision must have been pressured by external entities, people. External, 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 external pressure, external threat, external threat. Suffering from external threat. The allergy also acts up by external causes, such as dust, and so on. My allergy acts up by external causes, such as dust, the type of cloth, and so on. When you buy a product, which do you give priority to the most? The convenience and good features, or the externals? Which do you put priority the more when you buy a product? The external or features? 。 When you buy a product, which do you give precedence more? The external or the feature. When you buy a product, which do you give priority to the most? Features or external appearance. When you buy a product, which do you give priority to the product more? The external or feature. When you buy a product, which do you give precedence to the product more? The feature or externals. External, 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 external. External, 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 externals, external, 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 external. When you buy a product, which do you give precedence to the product more? The external or feature. External, external. External, 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 external. External, 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 external. And some people put emphasis more on the external of the product than the feature. Some people put more emphasis on the external of the product than the feature. External, 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 external. The external of the cards are designed to make the surface from the air minimalized. The vehicles are designed to suffer from the obstacles from the air minimally. The externals of the vehicles are designed to suffer from the obstacles from the air minimally. External of the vehicles. External of the vehicles. External of the cars are designed to suffer from the objection from the air minimally. The external of the sports cars are designed to withstand, endure, put up with the protection of obstacles from the air minimally. The externals of the sports cars and other vehicles are designed to avoid hindrances, hampers from the air minimally. External. Are you particular about externals of products? When you choose a product, buy a product, which do you give priority to it the more? Which do you give your priority to the product more? The external or feature? When you buy a product, which do you give precedence to the product more? External or price? When you buy a product, which do you give precedence to the product more? The external or price? External. 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 External of the dam. External of the dam gate. To minimize the pressure from the water, the shape the external was adopted. In order to minimize the pressure from the water, the gate of the dam, the external of the dam gate was adopted. In order to minimize the water pressure, the external of the dam gate was adopted. External. 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 Externals of many products are designed to meet something. Externals of products are designed to meet something. The information has been spread only internally. Only a handful of internal executives know the information. It has not been announced yet. But the fans and customers are predicting that the new version of the video game will be released around September next year. Internal executives, internal staff, internal related staff, only a handful of internal executives know about the information, regarding the information, with respect to the information, with regard to the information, as for the information, as to the information, in terms of the information. Internal economy. As the tariff increases, the more internal business will be prevalent. As the tariff increases, the internal business will be more vibrant. The higher tariff increases, the more consumers will spend money internally. The disease can be treated both internally and externally. As far as I know, many people just treat their disease only externally, not internally, such as confining the food they take to the one healthy for their health, and so on. Externally, the decision must have been pressured externally. The decision must have been pressured externally. Treat the disease both internally and externally. Treating the disease both internally and externally is very important to eradicate it, to treat it perfectly, once and for all, thoroughly, drastically. Externally, treating the disease externally. Most of the patients of the disease are treating their disease externally, not internally, by confining what they confining the food to only healthy one, and so on. Externally. 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 The house looks weird externally, but inside is totally different. You will be surprised by the difference. Nothing can be seen externally regarding the house, because the house is surrounded by high fences. Nothing can be seen externally. Nothing in the house can be seen because it is surrounded by high fences. externally, externally, surveillance externally, in order to keep the fairness. Surveillance externally by adopting external directors into the company. Surveillance externally. Security camera externally. Externally, externally, externally. 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 The cardboard box is taped both internally and externally, firmly, solidly, in order to avoid the object inside coming out. The cardboard box is attached many packing tape in order to avoid the object inside coming out. Externally. Externally. The cardboard box is fixed both internally and externally. The cardboard box is taped both internally and externally. 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 Attach packing tape both internally and externally. The cardboard box is attached packing tape both internally and externally. Check the validity of the coupon. If it is expired, you cannot use it. We sometimes forget the validity of the coupons, end up using nothing. We sometimes forget the validity of the coupons, ending up not using. Validity. Validity of the information. Validity of the coupon. Validity of the vaccination was not clear. but the subject research got it. Validity of the vaccination to the new disease is not clear. Validity of the medicine differs according to the patients, but 70% of the patients are experiencing recovery. The validity of the medication differs according to the patients, but according to the research, over the 10 years, shows that 70% of the patients have experienced recovery. Validity of the practice. Validity of my way of practice is not clear. Validity of my own way practice of study, practice of English is not clear. The validity of my own way of studying English has not been proved, but I hope that this will bear fruit in the future, as early as tomorrow. Validity. Excuse me, how long is the food valid? Is the food still valid? Or has it been expired? Use or eat before the valid date expires. The insurance is valid for 2 years. The insurance is valid for 2 years. Before I know, the coupon was invalid. Before I know, many coupons were invalid. It can be said to many people, including me, as well as me. I, as well as you, end up throwing away coupons which are invalid. I, as well as you, winds up throwing coupons away before I know. I, as well as you, winds up throwing away invalid coupons. Invalid. Validity of the information, validity of the vaccination differs according to the patients, but according to the research gathering information over 10 years, it shows that 70% of the patients are experienced recovery. Validity. The production was not validly done by the new employee, meaning we have to product from scratch again. The production of the unit was not validly completed by the new employee, meaning we had to produce it again from the scratch. Validly. The passport has been issued validly from the government office, from the civil service, civil service, civil service. My car has been checked validly in the car repair shop. I had to have my car checked within this month, so I went to take in my car to the car repair shop, and it was validly checked up, fixed, amended, validly. The examination took place validly with strict surveillance. Validly, 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 validly. Validly, validly. Validly, validly. Validly, validly, validly. The production hasn't been validly done. It turned out that the production hasn't been validly done. It turned out that inspection was not validly done. The medical inspection turned out to be done invalidly. The medical inspection turned out to be done validly. The medical inspection proved not to be done validly. The medical inspection turned out not to be done correctly, validly. It turned out that the medical inspection was not validly done due to the negligence of the staff, due to a lack of some other inspections. It was proved that the medical inspection had not been validly done. It turned out that the medical inspection had not been validly completed. It was proved that the medical inspection had not been validly done. She is very particular about what she eats. In other words, she is very healthy. She is very particular about what she eats. In other words, she is very healthy. I met an employee who checked the figures or calculations 5 times at least. In other words, he made never mistakes. He made no mistakes. There are some things to do, namely cleaning. The working environment was like a hell. So I quit. I resigned from the environment. In other words, I was depressed deeply. A new typhoon has been created recently. In other words, we have to prepare for that again. A new typhoon has been created recently. In other words, namely, we have to prepare for that again. That is to say, we have to prepare for that again. Some people like to be in crowded places, such as festivals, events, while others not. Some people like to be in crowded places, namely festivals, events, and so on. And some people like to be in crowded places. That is to say, festivals, events, and so on. I hope all citizens' claims should be reflected in politics. Individual claim should be respected. Individual claim should be respected. Claim. Individual claim tends to be disregarded as subtle in a society, unless it is the claim from a big entity or influencer and so on. Individual claim tends to be disregarded, ignored as too subtle, little, and so on, unless we are influencer or belong to big companies and so on. The citizens' claim to issue a state of emergency had an effect on the government decisions. The public claims to issue a state of emergency due to the virus had a big effect on the government's decision. Even influencers put the issue claimed. How do you kill the time until your baggage to appear, show up, turn up on the conveyor belt at the baggage claim? Baggage claim, baggage claim. How do you kill your time, spend your time at the baggage claim until your baggage to arrive? How do you spend your time until your baggage appear on the conveyor belt? Baggage claim, baggage claim, baggage claim. Baggage claim, 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 baggage claim. I once saw a trained dog to search for maybe drug at the baggage claim. I once saw a trained dog, maybe who is used for searching for something forbidden to bring at the baggage claim. I once saw a trained dog in search for something illegal in the luggage at the baggage claim. I once saw a trained dog in search for something illegal in the luggage at the conveyor belt. Baggage claim, baggage claim, baggage claim. Baggage claim, baggage claim, baggage claim. How do you spend the time at the baggage claim until your baggage will appear? And how do you kill the time at the baggage claim until your luggage or baggage turns up, shows up? The defendant claimed that he had done nothing, but there was decisive evidence to show that he had committed the crime. The accused contended, asserted, insisted, claimed that he had not committed the crime, but there was decisive evidence to show that he had committed the crime. The defendant claimed that he had not done with the crime. The defendant claimed that he had nothing to do with the criminal, the crimes. The accused claimed that he had nothing to do with the crime, although there were many decisive evidence to show he had committed the crimes. The residents claimed that the atmosphere and all the buildings be preserved as they were. The residents living in the historical area claimed that the buildings, atmosphere, and other facilities be preserved, conserved as they were, to pass down them to the next generations, to pass down the history, buildings, facilities, techniques to the next generations. Claimant. Claimant of basic income. Are you a claimant of basic income? claimant, claimant of basic income, claimant of decreased taxes, claimant of zero taxes, claimant of zero consumption tax, claimant of free education, claimant of free education until universities, claimant of higher salaries, claimant of higher salaries, especially to younger generation, claimant, 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 claimant of higher salaries, claimant of boost in salaries, claimant of increase in salaries, claimant, 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 claimant. Claimant, 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 claimant of basic income, claimant of something, claimant of new working schedule, 4 days duty and 3 days day offs, claimant of new working style of 4-day duty and 3-day day offs, claimant, 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 strong claimant of basic income. Are you? Are you a strong assert? Advocate, 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 and claimant of basic income? Claimant, strong claimant of vitalizing, decreasing village. Claimant, 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 claimant. The entity consists of claimants aiming for higher salaries. The entity is composed of claimants aiming for basic income. The entity is made up of claimants aiming for basic incomes. Claimant, 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 claimant. The journalist had an exclusive interview with the claimant of basic income. The journalist had an exclusive interview with the UFO claimant. Unidentified flying object. External validity. The data gathered are not enough to accomplish external validity. External validity. The data are not enough to achieve external validity. 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 The data are not enough to achieve external validity. External validity. External validity. The data gathered by the staffs are not enough to achieve external validity. We must ask you to gather more information, data. The gathered data will help us to create the statistics and ending up achieving the external validities. Unfortunately, the data gathered by the staffs are not enough to achieve external validity. I must ask you, all of the staffs, to gather more data, information, which will help us to create the statistics, ending up achieving external validity. External validity. External validity. External validity. External validity. There are always exceptional events, natural disasters, rules, and so on. There are always exceptional policies, rules, and so on. Exceptional usage of the emergency steps are adapted in case of emergency. Exceptional policy is adapted only in case of emergency. Exceptional policy, which allow you to take the outside steps, is adapted only in case of emergency. Exceptional. I'm always exceptional. I'm super different from others, everyone else. Exceptional. I'm super exceptional, so please do not take me for example when you study English and so on. I'm super exceptional compared to everyone else, so please do not take me for example. Please do not take me for instance. Exceptional weather events are being experienced, gone through recently. Exceptional rainfalls, snowfalls, and other weather events are happening. in the world. Exceptional. Unexceptional. Typhoon is not unexceptional in Japan. Everything might be unexceptional, maybe. Everything can possibility to happen, come about. Allows. Exceptional. Exceptional events are being experienced in the world, all over the world, across the world. Exceptional. Exceptional. Exceptional procedure was adopted in case of emergency. Exceptional usage of public facilities are adopted, employed in case of emergencies. Exceptional usage of public facilities such as schools, schools and other public facilities are used to evacuate residents from the disasters and so on. I used to accept what I cannot eat from the menu when I was a kid, which was prohibited by the school rules. So I looked around and made sure that teacher was not looking at me and excluded, left out, ruled out, accepted the food which I couldn't eat. And I had my friend eat them. Instead of that, I ate the food my friends couldn't eat for him. We helped each other and survived. Which is a good memory now. Do you have the similar memory? We were forced to eat even the ones we couldn't like to eat. Nagoya was accepted from the area of state of emergency once. What was I cannot remember. Except 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 given the increasing oil prices, we might accept the journey by cars. We might instead take public transportations because the prices are same, even though the oil prices are going up. Except, 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 except. Except, exclude, exclude, leave out, rule out, accept, 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 accept. When I was a junior high school student, a teacher told us to accept the time for playing video games, to allocate the time for study. Otherwise, we couldn't have time for anything. Otherwise, we couldn't have time for study because we were studying until late at night we were studying and working on club activities at night until night. So unless we reduced or accepted the time for playing video games, we couldn't have time for study after club activities or school days. That's why the teacher told us to so. Except don't accept what you have to do in the first place. Everybody was no idea why the prefecture was accepted from the state of emergency area. Everybody was no idea why the prefecture was accepted from the state of emergency area. Except. Let's accept. Don't accept eating vegetables for your health. Eat food balancedly. Have a balanced diet. Don't accept vegetables from the menu. Have a balanced diet, okay, for your health. Don't accept vegetables from your menu. Have a balanced diet. Have a balanced diet for your health. Since there was no time to visit all of the sightseeing places, we accepted some of the places and focused on the most interesting areas. Because there was no enough time to visit all of the tourist spots, we accepted some of the tourist spots and focused on most interested areas. Accept. Exclude. Accept. Exclude. Rule out. Leave out. Accept. Because I had to shortcut my performance to 3 minutes, although my performance used to last for 4 minutes. My teacher told me to cut and accept the boring 1 minute parts in order to fit my performance to 3 minutes. Accept. Accepting unwanted documents and useless movements, time, behavior movements, stops by, and so on will be make our life more efficient. Accepting useless shoppings, movements, spending times, and so on will make our life more efficient. Accept. Accept time spent on useless things will be better. Accepting the time spent on useless things will make your life more efficient, better. Accept. So hard he practiced, he was accepted from the regular member. He was accepted from the member for wrongdoings. He was accepted from the regular members, for lack of practices and rude attitude toward the coach. He was accepted from the regular members for bad manner, lack of practices, and so on. The coach excluded, accepted. The coach decided to accept. The coach decided to accept because of the reasons. He was accepted from the regular members for bad manner, attitude, and lack of practices. So the coach accepted for the reasons. The coach accepted for the reasons. The coach accepted for the reasons. Our trip to Okinawa was perfect except for rainy days. Except we were caught in traffic jam. Our journey to the downtown was very fun, except that we were caught in traffic jam. Are you always caught in a traffic jam? Rush hours, of course. The fireworks display was very exciting, except that it was very crowded. Of course, though. The magnificent view from top of the Mount Fuji was so good beyond description, except for the cold weather, as low as 0 degrees. at 0 degrees Celsius. I am all set except for the amenities, which I use till the last until I depart. My packing is all set except for the bathing facilities such as shower and hydrating cream on my face and so on, which I use till the end just before departing. I like summer except for the hot weather because the daytime is longer and the sun is very bright. The apartment is under my conditions, with reasonable prices, spacious rooms, except that I have to walk at least 20 minutes to the nearest stations. The apartment I used to live is good, except that I had to meet many students, colleagues, until I got to my apartment. So it was not a good choice privately. If you want to keep your privacy more, I don't recommend that apartment to live in. I used to live in. Except through my experience, everyone else can usually do the duties except for me. Except for me, everyone else in the department is ordinary. The location of the amusement park is too far. The amusement park is perfect, except that it is a little too far from the center. The amusement park is perfect, except that it is too far from my place. The housing area is very good in many perspectives, except that we have to drive a few minutes to buy food, drinks, and so on, because there are no shops around. The housing area is very peaceful and good, in a very good environment, except that we have to drive few minutes to shop because there are no shops around. The housing area is very located in very good place, in a good place, with nature and silence and peace. You have to wait in the line without exception, even if you are a superhero or a superheroine. You have to wait fairly above board in front of the restaurant if you wanna eat. Exception. The time schedule is adapted on a daily basis with some exceptions. The closing time is adapted, employed on weekends with some exceptions. The daily schedule is adapted with some exceptions. Rules are always adapted with some exceptions. Rules and policies are always adapted with some exceptions. Even Prime Minister has to wait in front of the restaurant if he or she wants to eat the ramen above board fairly without some exception. According to the policy of the owner of the ramen restaurant, even Prime Minister and everybody has to wait in line above board fairly without exception. Although it was beyond the closing time, the customer was accepted to enter because he was promising customer to buy goods. Exceptionally. The usage of the outside steps is allowed exceptionally when it is emergency. The usage of the outside stairs is allowed only when it is emergency, exceptionally. The usage of the outside steps is allowed when it is emergency, in case of emergency. The usage of the stairs is exceptionally allowed, permitted, when it comes to emergency, in case of emergency. Exceptionally. The usage of outside stairs is exceptionally allowed in case of emergency. Exceptionally. Although it is prohibited to park our car just before the headquarters administrative building, but this time we were exceptionally allowed, permitted. Although we are not allowed to park our cars just before in front of the administrative building, this time we were exceptionally allowed. Today, we were exceptionally permitted. Exceptionally. 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 Most of the students might be taking the lessons passively, not actively, but learning things aggressively is important, I think. Passively. I don't like to observe the cigarettes smoked by others next to me. passively. Is there a law to punish those giving the smoke to innocent people by smoking next to them? Is there a punishment or penalty to those who smoke nearby innocent people and give the smoke to the person? I don't like to get smoked passively from smokers. I don't like to get smoked from smokers passively. I don't like to get smoke passively from smokers next to me or nearby. Passively. Most of the students are taking lessons passively. Most of the students are listening to the lectures passively. 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 Taking a balance between taking the lesson passively and trying to learn aggressively. Passively. 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 All of the employees in the company had no choice but to work on the duty passively, decided by executives. Most of the people might be obliged to work on the duties allocated by the executives passively. Passively. Most of us might be obliged to work on the duties allocated by the executives passively. I don't like to smoke cigarettes passively. I don't like to smoke the indirect smoke passively from the smoker. I don't like to smoke indirectly passively from the smoker smoking next to me or nearby. Passively. Most of the people might just obey the decisions made by executives or bosses passively in order to avoid assuming responsibilities, having responsibilities, holding responsibilities, and so on. Passively. 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 I don't like passive smoking. Can I get a treatment because of passive smoking? Do you think passive smokers should be protected from the smokers? Do you think that those who are obliged to get passive smoking should be protected by law? Passive and active learning. Passive and active learning. Both passive and active learning are important, but I think many educational system is biased towards passive one. Most of the students have a passive learning. I think the educational system is too much biased towards passive learning. I think that most of the educational system is biased towards passive learning, not active learning, just listening to the teachers explaining on the board, and never try to consult dictionaries, going to libraries to get information, and so on, maybe. Probably. Perhaps. Passive observer. Passive. Passive. When it comes to the things I am not interested in, I am apt to be passive. There are some people to be very active when it comes to eating, lunchtime and so on. When it comes to eating or food, some people become very active. Passive smoking. What do you think of passive smoking? Is there a law to protect those who are passive smoking for smokers nearby? Is there a law to protect passive smoking person by accident? Not by accident. I don't know. Passive, 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 passive. Passive, 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 passive. Passive. I bet the educational system is biased towards passive learning a lot. Too much. Our learning method tends to bias towards passive learning a lot. Passive. Our learning style tends to be biased towards passive learning too much. Our learning style tends to be passive too much. Our learning style tends to be passive too much. Our learning style is apt to be passive too much. Our learning style is apt to be passive too much. Our learning style is apt to be passive too much. Our learning style tends to be passive too much. Passive observer. Passive observers not related to the accident. Passive observers around the music bands. Passive observer of the car accident. Passive observer. Not try to be a passive observer, but active learner. Passive observer of the car accident or some events. Passive observer of something accident happened on the street, road, anywhere. Passive observer. You are not a passive observer, but you have to take a memo and focus yourself on what is going on to summarize the information later in order to hand it in to your boss. Okay? Don't be just a passive observer. You are not a sightseeing tourist who is going to be dispatched to the place. You are dispatched as a journalist there. Don't be just a passive observer. Okay? You are not a tourist who is going to the place, but you are a journalist who is going to be dispatched to the place to get information. So don't be just a passive observer of the events. Passive observer. How often do you have your car checked? How often do you have your car checked? As far as I know, it is 3 years if you buy a new car, and after the 3 years, every 2 years, with some exceptions. How often do you get your car checked? How often do your car checked? How often do you have to get your car checked? How often do you have to get your car checked? How often do you have to have your car checked? How often do you have to have your car checked? How often do you have to get your car checked? And since it was the recommendation to change all of the 4 tires by the professionals, I had 4 tires exchanged with new ones for better ride, in order to avoid accidents and so on, flat tire and so on. Rear. You didn't find me because I was sitting in the rear of the concert hall. What is more, besides that, on top of that, the hall is too huge to identify you and me. Only those concerning can use the rear gate. Please bear in mind that only related staffs can use the rear gate. The staff is working in the facility enters from a rear gate. Staff is working in the facility enter from the rear gate. Please take in mind that only related can use the rear gate. You need the identification card touching on the screen to enter. Dear, please bear in mind that only those concerned can enter from the rear gate. Rear tire, rear seats, rear part of the products, rear body of the product, rear product, rear part of the product, parts, rear part of the product, rear side of the parts, rear gate. Please take in mind that only those concerning, only those concerning can enter from a rear door, a rear gate, a rear gate. My grandmother often told me that it was twice as difficult as other children to rear me. I was often told that bringing me up, rearing me was twice or three times as tough, difficult as everyone else. My grandmother often told me that rearing me was twice or three times as difficult as everyone else. My grandmother often told me that rearing me was twice or three times as difficult as everyone else. Dear, do you think rearing a sunflower difficult? Do you find rearing sunflower difficult? I'm planning to rear sunflower for summer. And when should I plant the seeds in the field? When should I plant the seeds? When is the best season and to plant the seeds for sunflower? Rear. What is rearing? What are you rearing? I used to be interested in rearing a big house when I was a kid, but I lost the interest. Imagining the huge cost, management cost, tax, the hardships of cleaning and so on. So I prefer to have a compact, convenient house now. Or I am even imagining me living in a hotel with makeup every day. Easier. I don't have to pay electricity, other utilities, only the rental fee. There are already some people living in hotels, especially hostels, and having a nomadic life, which I am interested in. Rear. I was often told from my grandmother that rearing me was twice or three times as difficult as everyone else. Is rearing sunflower difficult? Is rearing sunflower difficult? I saw many sunflowers blooming in the field, and I thought I'd like to rear sunflowers too. Is it difficult to bring up, grow, rear sunflowers on my own by myself in the garden as a beginner? When I went to the sightseeing spot, I was mesmerized that a number of sunflowers blooming in the field, and I thought I'd like to rear sunflowers in my garden too. Is it difficult for me to rear sunflowers in my garden? And when should I seed the sunflower seed? When should I plant the seeds? And what are needed to rear sunflowers? What are needed? What are the things I have to prepare to rear sunflowers? Rear. The breathtaking view of a number of sunflowers in the field made me wanna rear sunflowers in my garden too. I'm gathering information how to rear sunflowers in my garden. Have you ever reared sunflowers in your garden? Sunflowers are very beautiful and powerful enough to make me happy, glad, sturdy, robust, solid, firm, fine. Have you ever seen a horse rearing up? Have you seen a horse rearing up? The scenery of puppy rearing up is so cute. The scenery of puppy rearing up on their two legs is so cute. The scenery of the puppy rearing up on their two legs is so cute. Bears in the zoo stand on their two legs to get food from the customers. Were you also mesmerized the skyscrapers rearing in the megalopolis? Were you also stand by the skyscrapers lined up in the megalopolis? Were you also astonished by the skyscrapers rearing in the megalopolis? Were you also mesmerized by rearing skyscrapers in the megalopolis. Yes, I was astonished by skyscrapers rearing along the street. I was also stunned. I was also taken by surprise by the rearing skyscrapers in the megalopolis. Rear up, rear up. Have you ever seen animals rearing up? The scenery of puppies rearing up on their two legs is so cute. The movement of puppies rearing on their two legs to get food from the owner is so cute. Animals rearing up on their two legs are so cute. Were you taken by surprise by the rearing skyscrapers in the megalopolis? Were you mesmerized by rearing skyscrapers? And there are many skyscrapers rearing in the downtown. Tokyo Sky 3 Tower is rearing in the middle of the seminar world. Tokyo Sky 3 Tower has been rearing since 2012, as far as I know. The five-story pagoda has been rearing in the premises of the temple, since Edo period. The five-story pagoda in the premises of the temple has been rearing since Edo period. Rear. Rearing skyscrapers. Rearing statue. Great statue of Buddha. I was taken by surprise by rearing great statue of Buddha in Ibaraki Prefecture. It was so huge. Although I knew that I could enter the body, but I didn't. I just looked at the statue from a distance. But if I have a chance to visit the place again, I would enter. When I went to the tourist spot, I was impressed with a number of sunflowers blooming in the field, and I thought I'd like to rear sunflowers in my garden too. Is it difficult for me to rear sunflowers by myself? There are many skyscrapers rearing in the megalopolis. Rearing in the megalopolis. Have you ever seen a horse rearing up in person? Have you ever seen a horse rearing up in person? The picture is famous for the horse rearing up. I like the picture with the horse rearing up. I like the picture with the shogun on the rearing up horse. I like the painting of a shogun on the horse rearing up. I like the picture of the shogun on the horse rearing up. How much is the picture of the shogun on the horse rearing up? How much is the painting of the president on the horse rearing up? I was touched by the skyscrapers rearing in the megalopolis. I couldn't make heads or tails of how the skyscrapers rearing were built. I have no idea how the skyscrapers rearing in the megalopolis were built. Rear. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you!